with one of my all-time favorite guests. There's nothing I don't love about chatting with Chris Jericho, and I will tell you why. Because when I get off a hang with you, you've been to the station, we've had a great hour-long chat, played some tunes. I feel like I'm like a better person for it. Why do I feel like that?
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know. I think professionals attract professionals, and there's a reason why you've been doing your job for as long as you have. So I think when you do as many interviews as I do, it's the ones where you meet other cool people that stand out and you always have a good time with. So you're one of those people. So that's probably the reason why. It's very reciprocal.
I love that. I had you back at the station, I think it was 2019. People still talk to me about, because you were so honest about so many things and how it inspired them. I've had two people over the years that people told me inspired them on the air. You and Daryl McDaniels from Run DMC, because DMC is that kind of a guy
Yeah,
too,
it
where
is.
he's got so much going on. And you just feel like you're better for talking to these people. So, all right, of course, wrestling superstar, best-selling author. I cannot believe it's been 25 friggin' years for Fozzy. How is this possible? You came on the tour bus 25 years ago with Fozzy Osbourne. Remember that? To
Yeah,
DHA?
yeah. It's pretty crazy to think about that because the way that the band has morphed and changed over the years. I mean, we just started, it was kind of a fun project, as most bands do start out as, playing a lot of covers. And it was just towards the end of the days when you could get a big record deal because of potential. And I remember the very first Fozzy record deal was signed with Megaforce Records, and Johnny Zazula, the famous Johnny Z, New Jersey's own, we were Megaforce's last signing. And you're talking about the guy who signed Metallica and Anthrax and Testament and Raven and
Legend. A
legends,
legend.
Overkill. You name the metal scene from the mid '80s was all Johnny Z, and his very last signing was Fozzy. So that kind of put us on a different level right out of the gate. And like you mentioned, 25 years. I mean, anything that you can do for 25 years is an accomplishment. But for us, with the way that the band has been built, we're bigger now than we've ever been. I mean, we just had our 8th top 10 single. I got a gold record on the wall for Judas that I'm looking at right now. And, things just continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and better. And that's pretty cool for us, considering how it started and to where we are right now, a quarter of a century later, which is so insane, like you said.
Well, you said to me something. I don't know if you were at the station or we Zoomed or whatever, but it always stuck with me. You said we always wanted to be a radio band because we realized the importance of rock radio and we wanted to be a part of that community. I mean, and being a part of that community means a couple of things. You have to come up with, for a rock radio band, melodic, hooky bangers that have a battle cry and an anthemic feel to them. And you are perfect at crafting those kinds of songs, but it never gets lost on me because there's a million places for people to get their music, streaming services, all kinds of things. But you never discounted the community of local radio anytime that you have been on the show, which I absolutely loved because I thought, you know what, this is a guy who really, really, really gets it. Why was it important for you? You've got podcasts and you've done so many other things, but why was it important for you to be embraced by the radio community?
Yeah, I don't think it really started out with that intention. But when the Judas record came out, and Judas the song went to number 5 on the modern rock charts, that's when we really realized like rock radio is so important. And we never realized it until we were on rock radio. We had dabbled a bit, but to really put a full campaign together and to get that response, suddenly the door has been kicked open. And then every song that we released since to the radio has gone at least top 20 or top 10. And that's when you become, a radio band, which now that we are a radio band, it's very important because that's how you still get your exposure. In this day and age, there's so many ways to listen to music and there's so many bands available, with Spotify and streaming and everything. So to get an actual focus when you go to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and they're playing your song, 50 times a week or whatever it may be, you can't replace that. And, when it leads to the festivals, or when it leads to, the different iHeart things that you can do, or even, talking with you for your station when you have a show, in New York City coming up, or New Jersey, or Philly, or the surrounding area, the localized market always counts for extra promotion, extra focus, extra spotlight, no pun intended. So it's one of those things, like I said, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're bigger now than we've ever been, is because of our exposure on the radio. And, that all leads to more ticket sales, more merch sold, more streams. Streaming is so important now with the Judas Gold record. I mean, old school Gold record is 500,000 units sold. Now it's a combination of units sold and streams. It takes like 75 million streams to the equivalent of 500,000 sales, but that's just the way of the world now. So
Yeah, yeah.
all of that helps when you have, a good relationship with the radio stations across the country.
Yeah. I always say to bands, you're in the billion streaming club. I wish you were a billionaire. It's only fair. Anyway, and I remember, look, we stream all over the place. So I talk to people in Ireland and all kinds of stuff. People are listening at all different times. But I remember when you guys had a show somewhere in Manhattan, and you being on the air, whoever your label person was like the last hour that you were on with Terrie, all of a sudden, like the show completely sold out, because
Oh
that's
yeah,
what happens when you're centrally
sure.
localized. And that's the beauty of it all. So, gosh, I mean, there's so many things to talk about, including the Chris Jericho rock and wrestling rager. This is going to be amazing. We've got people that can enter that are going to be heading to this Miami to the Dominican Republic. It starts on the 31st of January. When I say that you are the visionary and executioner of things, and I like talking to you because I feel it's inspirational, because you are so brave. You put all of these things that you are passionate about. That is the most important thing, because you're not doing things just to do them. Like, let's throw this against the wall and see if it sticks. Everything is something that you are an expert in. You're an expert in metal. Obviously, you're a wrestling superstar. So, when did you get the idea about the cruise? And tell me how the cruise came to be, and why should people want to jump on board?
No pun intended. Jump on board. Haha. See what you did there. We did the Kiss cruise in 2015, and it was funny because, once again, this is kind of as Fozzy was building to become kind of on the road to what we are now. No cruise would really take us. Like, Monsters of Rock never called us, or Shiprocked, or 70,000 tons of metal, or any of that stuff. And it was kind of pissing me off. And then we finally got a call from Kiss to be on the Kiss cruise, which was amazing. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, like, I can do my own. I can do my own version of this and incorporate all the things that I like, which is music and wrestling and comedy and paranormal and all that sort of thing. Because it really was just an amazing experience. And I realized that there was a lot of people that were on board, almost like an annual retreat, like a summer camp or something, where they're going just to see their friends. It's a whole community. So it took us like 3 years to figure out a way to do it, a way to sell it, um, a way to make sure that the ring was secure on the boat, which was crazy because I was like, well,
That's crazy. I'm
when we're
watching the
doing,
videos. I'm like, how are they doing this? This
well,
is wild.
sure, but it's the same thing as when we played in the middle of the ocean with Kiss. It wasn't like the stage, like the drums were sliding back and forth, or the amps, but with the ring, because it's so heavy, you have to figure out a way to secure it in case there's big waves. So we created like these big ballasts, the big squares, containers filled with like tons and tons of water, build the ring over top of those ballasts, and those ballasts don't move. So no matter what happens, the ring doesn't move, something along those lines. But that took a while to figure even that technology. So anyways, we did the first cruise in 2018. It was a huge money loser for me because I didn't know what I was doing. And then the second one in 2020 was a huge success. And then, of course, we all know what happened after that, with having to rebuild it after the lockdown and everything like that. But here we are getting ready to go on number six on the beach. And we've got it down to a science. And it really is just one big party. If you don't like wrestling, we got great bands. If you don't like music, we got comedians. If you like comedians, we've got wrestling. It's just one big party. And that's how I book the whole cruise. Every single act on board has that type of good time vibe for it, whether it's the comedians or whether it's the bands or the legends that I bring in from the wrestling world. And we have AEW wrestling for current wrestling. We do that on the ship. And so it really is just become a real, like I said, it really is a rock and roll party. There's so much stuff to do that you almost can't do it all. And that's what I
Yeah.
want, because I want people to go leaving. Oh man, there was just, it went by so fast. It was so much fun. There was so much going on. And that's kind of been the motto for me. And that's what we try and do every single year. And here we are getting ready to hit number 6, and it's already a success. And we're looking forward to already planning for number 7.
Hit WDHAFM.com, by the way, for your chance to enter. And I feel like these things work so well because again, it's about who you are. You're so passionate about all of these things. I don't think that you can put together, and arrange sort of your life and your passions the way you have. And you know what? You just never stop. I don't think you know the word no. And I think that you are somebody who always is willing to kick in doors and be able to make it happen for you. Where do you get that tenacity from? Because, sometimes you've got balls, Chris Jericho, you do. And it doesn't matter if somebody tells you no. Somebody goes, oh, he's a wrestler. He's a good looking guy. How's he going to make it in a band? Well,
Yeah,
hence you prove them wrong. You just keep moving forward. And that's why I always like having you on, because I think it's definitely a message for people who sometimes feel that they got kicked in the butt.
well, you kind of just answered that question. I wrote a book years ago called "No is a Four-Letter Word."
I love that book.
And thank you. And what I meant by that was people throw around the word no so easily, and people accept it so easily, and that's not acceptable. Like, anybody on my team knows what my motto is, what my mission is. Don't tell me why it's not going to happen. Let's figure out a way to make it happen. And I've always been that way from when when I first started telling people I wanted to be a wrestler in 1990. They're like, "Oh, you're way too small." And then I did it. Well, I'm going to be in a band. Oh, you can't do that because you're a wrestler. And then I did it. Can't do a cruise. You can't do a podcast. Now it's like, you need to stop wrestling. You've been doing it too long. It's like, you're the same people that are telling me I couldn't do it in the first place, telling me to stop doing it now. It's the same answer every time. Like, F off. Like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I never have, and I never will. All I care about is entertaining the people that want to, that appreciate what I do, and want to be entertained. And if you don't want that for me, then you can go to somebody else, and that's fine too. I have no problems with that. But for me, I don't worry about the haters. I worry about the people that appreciate what I do and try and give them more cool stuff to help their lives be a little bit more fun. And as long as I feel that I'm doing that, then that's cool with me. So that gives me the inspiration to go do these things, like the Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea. There'd never been a cruise with wrestling at sea before. So you know what the initial response is? Can't do it. It's not going to work. I'm like, no, I'm not buying it. If you can put a rock and roll stage in the middle of the ocean, like I said, the drums aren't sliding back and forth. We can do it with a wrestling ring. Let's just figure out how to make it work. And then suddenly it works, and now you're a genius. And there's been 3 or 4 other wrestling cruises that tried to start, but they couldn't because they can't figure out how to secure the ring. And I've got the patent on it, so you have to think of some other ideas. But it's like, I think of new stuff, because when it's new, everyone buries it until it becomes a success. Then everybody takes credit for it. And
Yeah.
that's just the
Yep.
way it is. And that's fine. I'm used to that.
Yep. The king of reinvention. Now, your relationships too with the people around you. And I don't want to forget, I gotta mention the Gramercy in New York City. Gramercy show is coming up for Fozzy. So very, very exciting.
Yes.
17th of October. So get your tickets. Phenomenal live show. Always an amazing live show. I want to talk about a couple of the people in your orbit. I mean, look, you and Rich, so close. Your guitar player. And then also you've got like new guys with you. Like PJ, who I think Peach joined. He's our brother. He's my brother. I had him at the
Jersey
station not that
Zone.
long ago. He's Jersey Zone, and he's such a good dude. A little bit of the past and a little bit of the future for you, but everybody loves working with you and being around you. Why do you think that is? It might be hard to speak on that, for yourself. I know the things that PJ has told us, but why do you think it
I
just
mean,
works so well?
the thing is, it's if you want to use PJ as an example, the reason why PJ and I get along so well, and Rich and PJ as well, is because PJ's a hard worker. PJ's been a working musician since he was a teenager, and that's a very hard thing to do. Be a working musician. Everybody in Fozzy is a working musician, which means they do nothing else but play music, and that's dedication. And that's a lot of hard work, and it's not taking anything for granted. And everybody's very grounded as a result of that. We all work very hard, and we all understand this is not an easy business to be in, and it's not a privilege, or it's not a right. It's a privilege. It's something that it's a gift for us to be able to do this. A lot of bands don't have that attitude, but the pros do. The pros understand how hard it is to get to a certain level and stay there. And so there's mutual respect between all of us, because all of us are working our asses off to stay, to keep the machine rolling and keep the pirate ship out at sea. And so I think, and another thing about that is when you've been in show business as long as all of us have. I mean, Grant, our drummer, is still in his 20s, so he's got the least amount of experience, and he's still coming up in 10 years. You realize that it's not just about the guy's abilities if you're in a band, it's about the attitudes and the personalities. We don't have any jerks in our band, and that includes the crew, because you got to travel together. The crew's just as important as the band is. So everybody's on the same page. Everybody's a friend. And when there's somebody that comes in that doesn't have that attitude, they have to go, because you can't have that sort of thorn in the side when you're on that bus, man. It's a long way to go. And the guys that have the true professional attitude are always the coolest. And that goes for any big band. Do you think that Lars and James don't know how much work they have to put in and how hard it is to stay on top at that level? All of us do. So I think that's one of the reasons why I love working with my guys as much as they love working with me, because it's mutual respect. Everybody is building everybody else up, because it's a team, and each team has a quarterback, and each team has a kicker, and each team has a receiver. And I don't care if you play one play during the game. If you do a great job and do a good play, your team wins. And that goes for being in a band as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be on the bus. It's like being on a trip with a bad ex-girlfriend.
I mean, it can be.
It ain't
Yeah.
no fun. It ain't
It
no
ain't
fun.
fun,
So
yeah.
talk to me, but let's talk about new music quickly. Boombox, was the last record. Took you guys a while to put it together. Are you going to be releasing things now in sort of more of a single, in
Yeah.
a singles way? Or
So it's
talk
it's, it's funny
to me about
because
that.
we did Boombox and we had 3 top 10 singles. Then we did Spotlight, which went top 10. And then there was another song on Boombox. Spotlight was not on Boombox, but Army of One was on Boombox, and we got so many requests for it. We were like, we don't have a new song right now. Why don't we release Army of One and see where it goes? It went top 10. So I think that's the way to go, is because when you do a record, you put out, you put your heart and soul into 12 songs, let's say. 3 of them get released, 3 more you play live, and the other 6 kind of disappear. And maybe some of those songs are top tens, like Army of One was. So we're working on another song right now, and if that's the idea, is maybe do a song every 4 to 6 months.
Oh, I love that.
I think the days of a full length album, for us at least, are done. Only because I hate seeing those songs go to waste. They're too good. And there's so much way to consume, like we said. I think one at a time is a good way to make sure that every song gets its chance.
Yeah, yeah. The return on attention these days is nil. Nil.
Yes.
People just don't do it. I put the phone, I don't do any video from concerts or anything. I don't want to do that. I just have to put the
Yeah.
phone away. I want to be there. I want to enjoy. I don't want a band to sound like crap on my cell phone. So I'm not that person. I get in trouble a lot because you got to create content. And I'm like, no, I just want to enjoy seeing Jeff Lynne's ELO or a Fozzy show, or like, I just want to
Yeah.
sit there at Metallica and enjoy Metallica.
And get your content, film for a minute, you know, get
25 seconds I do, and
get
then
your
I'm like, I'm
story,
out.
put together
I'm
your
out. Yeah.
TikTok, and then
I'm
put your
out.
phone away. It's like there's people that come to Fozzy gigs and they'll be filming the whole show. And my
It's not
TM,
fair. It's
my
just
TM,
not fair. It
my
doesn't
TM already
work.
knows after a song or two. It's like, put the phone down. I mean, what are you gonna do with a full Fozzy show? You know what I mean? Like, look what I got. Let me watch it with me. Like, no one's gonna do that. Like, film a couple seconds, get your memories, and then enjoy the moment.
Yeah. Live in the
I went to
moment.
see U2 at the Sphere, and Bono said, "Put your effing phones down." And I was like, "What a great line from Bono! Like, get the phones and throw them away, and we're right here. Watch us. Watch the Sphere, not this little, you know, square that you have." But I like Randy Blythe's idea where he said, next time someone's just filming with their phone and the whole crowd is doing it, I'm going to stop the show and say, okay, I'm going to film you with my phone, and then do the rest of the show like this and see how much you like it, you know?
I love that. I love that. Oh, and before I let you go, again, we got to get a Fozzy at the Gramercy in. So talk to me about Burke. Burke is coming back to Terrifier. I saw
Burke
the
is,
trailer,
yeah. It's I just saw the premiere on Thursday in Austin,
the
Texas,
whole
and
thing you saw.
yeah, and
Oh,
oh boy, it
is
is
it?
insanely depraved, brutal, violent, disgusting, everything that you expect from a Terrifier movie and more.
I
And
love
yes,
it.
Burke does make a return. But I will say he doesn't last very long
He doesn't. I
in the
saw
best
in the
possible way.
trailer, I'm a scream queen. I love my horror. So
Mm.
when I saw that the trailer was out, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's Jericho. Burke is back. He's
Yeah.
back in the film.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
so
back. He's
looking forward
back.
to that. And I think there's something extra creepy about horror movies that come out and surround themselves around the Christmas holidays. There's just
Yeah.
something extra
It
wild
was a
about
great
that.
twist that they put in there to have this installment happen on Christmas. Smart
I
idea.
love it. I love it. Chris Jericho, it's always a pleasure. There's more going on than, we could ever fit into a
Yeah.
Zoom hang, but I love you. I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to come out to the Fozzy show. Cannot wait to get on I got to get on the Jericho
Really,
cruise.
you'll have
I
so
think
much
I just
fun.
have to.
It's such a blast. It's such a blast. But yeah, we're excited. It's always great. Like you said, New York on the 17th at the Gramercy, Philly on the 18th at the Foundry. So those are kind of two of the bigger shows. Your area has always been great for Fozzy. Right back when we started in 2000, New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Philly always embraced us. So we're really excited to come back and once again play as many songs as we can from all of our records. 25-year celebration.
Woo! 25 years of the Foz. It's so good to see you, my friend.
Thanks,
Thanks so
Terry.
much for taking the time with me.
Anytime. Always a pleasure.